Imagine a drug that helps you lose 20 kilograms in a single year. A drug that reduces the risk of heart attack. A drug that generations of doctors and millions of patients could only dream of. That drug exists, and by now, almost everyone knows its name. Ozempic. But here is what is fascinating. In the last 2 years, an entire industry of myths has grown up around this medication, some of which are pushing people to take it when they absolutely should not, and others that are causing people to reject it when it could genuinely save their lives. Today, we are not going to argue for Ozempic or against it. Today, we are going to talk about the truth. The kind that neither the pharmaceutical company, nor the TikTok influencer, nor your friend who lost 15 kilograms and is now recommending it to absolutely everyone will ever tell you. I am a doctor, and my job is to tell you what is actually real. Before we can dismantle the myths, we need to understand the mechanism, because the majority of misconceptions about Ozempic grow directly out of not understanding how it actually works. Ozempic is the brand name for a drug called semaglutide. It belongs to a class of medications known as GLP-1 receptor agonists. Glucagon-like peptide 1 receptor agonists. That sounds complex, so let's translate it into plain language. GLP-1 is a hormone that your intestine produces in response to food. It does several things simultaneously. It signals the pancreas to produce insulin. It slows the emptying of the stomach, meaning you feel full for longer. And most importantly, it travels to the brain and literally tells the appetite centers, "Stop, we've eaten enough." Semaglutide mimics this hormone, but it does so far more potently and for far longer than natural GLP-1. While the natural hormone survives in the bloodstream for just a few minutes, semaglutide lasts for an entire week after a single injection. This is precisely why it is injected once a week, not every day. Originally, Ozempic was developed and approved by the FDA specifically for treating type 2 diabetes. Its ability to produce weight loss was essentially a side effect, a powerful and welcome one, but a side effect nonetheless. Later, a separate medication called wegovy was developed using the same semaglutide molecule, this time specifically for obesity treatment at a higher dose. Understanding this distinction is absolutely critical for everything we are going to discuss next. This is perhaps the most widespread and most dangerous myth of all, and it was not born in medical offices. It was born on social media, when celebrities began visibly shrinking before millions of followers without explaining exactly what they were taking. Listen carefully. Ozempic is FDA approved for 2 categories of patients. The first, people with type 2 diabetes. The second, people with obesity or with overweight, combined with a serious related health condition, hypertension, high cholesterol, or diabetes. This is not a drug for someone who wants to lose 5 kilograms before a vacation. This is not a quick start treatment. This is a serious medication with serious indications, serious contraindications, and serious side effects, which we will get to shortly. A study published in PMC in 2025 explicitly describes the surge in off-label Ozempic use as a troubling intersection of pharmacology and social media influence. And here is what is particularly cruel about this story. When healthy, wealthy people buy up Ozempic for aesthetic weight loss. They create a shortage of the drug for those who genuinely need it for medical reasons. For people with diabetes who cannot access their medication. Pause. If you are thinking about Ozempic, the first question you need to ask is not to your friend and not to the internet, but to a doctor. Do I have a medical indication for this drug? If the answer is no, this medication is not for you. Full stop. This myth is interesting precisely because it is simultaneously true and untrue, depending on exactly how you frame it. Let's start with what is true. Ozempic does not cure obesity, it manages it. This is a fundamental distinction that far too many patients don't fully grasp. When you stop taking it, the appetite suppressing effect disappears. The brain receptors return to their baseline state, and many people begin to regain weight. A 2026 study from the University of Cambridge, incorporating a systematic review and non-linear meta-regression, found that on average 1 year after stopping the drug, people regain approximately 60% of the weight they lost. But, and this is an important but, they still remain roughly 25% below their original starting weight. In other words, a complete return to baseline does not actually happen. And now, what is not true? The claim that the moment you stop, everything comes back immediately is not supported by real-world clinical data. A 2026 study from the Cleveland Clinic involving nearly 8,000 patients in everyday clinical practice found that the majority of people who discontinued the medication were able to maintain their weight because they either switched to another treatment, restarted the drug, or had successfully embedded lifestyle changes. The key phrase here is embedded lifestyle changes. Ozempic works best not as a monotherapy, but as a tool that creates a window of opportunity. While your appetite is under control, you build new habits around food and movement. And it is precisely those habits that need to become your insurance policy after you stop. This myth has a real scientific foundation behind it, and that is precisely what makes it particularly dangerous. It contains a grain of truth that people inflate into a catastrophe. The facts are these. Clinical trials have indeed shown that patients taking semaglutide lose not only fat, but also what is called lean mass, meaning non-fat body tissue, including muscle. In the 68-week Step 1 trial, the average loss of lean mass was approximately 6.9 kilograms, against a total weight loss of 17.3 kilograms. That amounts to roughly 13.9% of baseline lean mass. That sounds alarming, but let's add the context that usually disappears in retellings. First, loss of muscle mass occurs with any significant weight reduction, regardless of how you achieve it. This is physiology, not a specific side effect of Ozempic. When the body loses weight rapidly, it loses muscle too. Second, according to Cleveland Clinic data, the loss of lean mass in studies came primarily not from skeletal muscles, but from organs. For example, the liver shrank by nearly half, and the shrinking of an enlarged fatty liver is not a catastrophe. That is treatment. Third, and most importantly, lean mass loss while taking Ozempic is highly manageable. 2 tools that work: strength training at least 2 to 3 times per week, and adequate protein in your diet. No less than 1.2 to 1.6 grams per kilogram of body weight per day. These are not optional add-ons. They are a mandatory part of the protocol. This myth is perhaps the most frightening of all, and one of the least scientifically grounded. Where did it come from? From the FDA's boxed warning on Ozempic packaging about a possible risk of medullary thyroid cancer. That warning is real, and it is justified, but its context is critically important. The warning is based on rodent studies in which very high doses of the drug produced C-cell tumors of the thyroid gland. But pay attention. In humans, these cells respond to GLP-1 in a fundamentally different way than they do in rodents. The mechanism that operates in mice does not biologically reproduce in human beings. What does the actual science on human beings say? A 2025 to 2026 analysis drawing on data from large randomized controlled trials involving tens of thousands of people found that semaglutide does not increase the risk of cancer. Not thyroid cancer, not pancreatic cancer, not any other type. In fact, some observational studies even hint at a potentially protective effect against certain obesity-related cancers. The contraindication to Ozempic does exist, but it is specific and clear. A personal or family history of medullary thyroid carcinoma, or a diagnosis of multiple endocrine neoplasia syndrome type 2. If that is not in your history, fear of cancer is not a medically justified reason to refuse the medication. After 4 myths in which we dismantled fears, it is time to talk about real risks, because the pendulum has swung the other way. Part of the audience now considers Ozempic an absolutely safe miracle drug with no serious limitations. And that is also a myth. Let's start with side effects. The most common are gastrointestinal, nausea, vomiting, diarrhea, constipation. In most cases, these appear at the beginning of treatment and resolve as the body adjusts to the medication. But a study from Brigham and Women's Hospital and Harvard Medical School, analyzing data from more than 200,000 patients, documented that GLP-1 agonists, including semaglutide, are associated with an increased risk of serious gastrointestinal complications, including gastroparesis, pancreatitis, and bowel obstruction, requiring emergency care. The second real risk that is now being actively discussed is the effect on vision. A large analysis of data from more than 102,000 veterans in the United States, published in 2026, found that patients taking semaglutide had roughly double the rate of developing non-arteritic anterior ischemic optic neuropathy, a rare but serious condition that can lead to sudden vision loss. This is not a reason for panic, but it is a reason to tell your doctor immediately about any changes in your vision while on treatment. And finally, the question that almost no one is talking about. A 2025 study by Harvard and the CDC documented an unexpected finding. Among patients presenting to emergency departments because of Ozempic, nearly 17% were there for hypoglycemia, critically low blood sugar. And this was among people taking only semaglutide, without other blood sugar lowering medications. This should not happen, in theory. And yet it does. This means that taking the drug independently, without medical supervision, carries a genuine risk. After all of this debunking, it is important to say something directly. Ozempic is a genuine medical achievement for the right patients. for a person with type 2 diabetes who has been unable to control their blood sugar through other approaches. This is a life-changing medication. It lowers glycated hemoglobin, reduces the risk of cardiovascular events, helps with weight loss, and improves quality of life for a person with clinical obesity, a BMI above 30 or above 27, with serious coexistent conditions. This is a tool that opens possibilities simply not available through diet and exercise alone. Studies confirm reductions in the risk of heart attack and stroke, improvements in metabolic markers, and reduced load on the joints. In fact, just this week, in April 2026, new data emerged suggesting that semaglutide may increase cartilage thickness in joints affected by arthritis. That doesn't mean Ozempic treats arthritis, but it does mean there is potential here that we are only beginning to understand. The key phrase in all of this is for the right patients, and whether you are one of those patients can only be determined by a doctor, not the internet, not a friend, not an influencer with a perfect body. I want you to leave this video with one single thought, not for Ozempic and not against it, but with the understanding that in medicine, there are no simple answers. There are no magic pills, and there are no absolute villains. Ozempic is a tool, a powerful, well-studied one, capable of changing lives when used correctly, and dangerous when used incorrectly. In a world where social media algorithms make their money from your anxiety and your hope, the most important skill you can develop is the ability to stop and ask, where does this information come from? Who stands behind it? What are their interests? Pharmaceutical companies want you to buy their drug. Influencers want views. And I want only one thing, for you to make decisions about your health based on real data, not someone else's fears or someone else's enthusiasm. If you have questions about Ozempic, about GLP-1 medications, about whether any of this is right for you, ask your doctor. Don't skip that conversation, because that conversation may turn out to be one of the most important ones for your health. Until next time, take care of yourself.